I think we can start. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Suppose there is any internet failure, you can call my wife number, because last time once it happened.
Correct, sir.
So
I
a
will.
lot of people, I requested people not to call me on this phone. I hope it is with you, my wife's number.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, thank you. My granddaughter is here waiting for me to.
Awesome. Such a blessed soul. Such a
She will
blessed
say
soul.
hello to you and go away.
Sure.
Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, on behalf of all of us and to the entire Guru Parampara. Today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue with the Mangalacharana shlokas. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smrti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kruto Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Hari Om. Last time, the verse or shloka number 207, it was stopped. The discourse on Viveka Chudamani, shloka number 207, it was stopped. As repeatedly, this point I am making very clear. This explanation is mainly based on the commentary given by Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal of Sringeri Sharada Peeth. Now, Acharya has started explaining about now the fifth invisible abstract sheath called Anandamaya Kosha. Last time it was explained in the previous shloka. This Anandamaya Kosha, the name given, it is actually an abstract name. It's in our simple language. It basically means the joy, the pleasure, the happiness we derive in our lifetime. In the waking state, mainly it is experienced. Even in the dream state, it will come into experience. We may feel it during the dream also sometimes. ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶ ಈ ಹೆಸರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸುಖದ ಘಳಿಗೆಗಳು, ಆನಂದದ ವಾತಾವರಣ, ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಸುಖ ಆನಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಘಟನೆಗಳು, ಪ್ರಿಯವಾದ ವಸ್ತುಗಳು ನಾವು ಹೊಂದಿದಾಗ, ಪ್ರಿಯವಾದ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟಾರ್ಥಗಳು ನೆರವೇರಿದಾಗ ಉಂಟಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆನಂದ, ಆ ಸುಖ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ನಾವು ಇನ್ನು Vedanta, as Acharya puts it and clarifies, this ananda, this joy or the pleasure, is only insignificant, a small part of the original, the eternal, all existing, permanently existing Atmananda or Brahmananda. This Ananda, what we experience, this bliss, as in common English called, what we experience sometimes, is not actually the original Atmananda or the Brahmananda or Nijananda. It's only a fraction, minuscule fraction of that. To give a small example, a crude example, the smaller waves which are generated in the ocean, most of us we have seen. The waves are formed, they appear ebbing out from the surface, dancing through as the winds sway on the surface of the ocean. The waves also ebb and then they appear, they dance, and then they disappear. The ocean is always there, vast expanse of water body. So we can just compare this ananda or the sukha, the so-called bliss, the pleasure, the joy we get in our life. It can be compared to the fleeting waves which appear one after another. They appear and disappear, appear and disappear. That is the nature of the wave. So the so-called bliss or the ananda, sukha, joy, pleasure, what we experience in our lifetime, they are also fleeting. They are not eternal. They don't remain in the full content with the same ecstasy throughout our life. That one moment of joy, at that moment, it is joyous for us. As Acharya last time said in the shloka, Swa Ishtartha Labodhaya Priyadi Gunakaha, he uses the word for this Ananda. When your Ishtartha, whatever you expect happens, Swa, your own, then the joy erupts. But it is transitory. It remains when it disappears. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಯಾವುದಾರು ಆಸೆಗಳು ಕೈಗೂಡಿದಾಗ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂತೋಷ ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಆ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟಾಯಿತು. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಿಯ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹಿತವಾದದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಹೊಂದಿದಾಗ, ನಾವು ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ, ಅನುಭವಿಸಿದಾಗ ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಒಂದು ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಒಂದು ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮನೆಯನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರವೇಶ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎಂತಹ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬೆಲೆ ಬಾಳುವ ಕಾರ್ ನಾವು ಖರೀದಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂತಹ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿನಿತ್ಯ, ಪ್ರತಿ ಗಂಟೆ, ಕ್ಷಣವು ಅದೇ ಆನಂದ, ಅದೇ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಮರುದಿವಸ, ಅದರ ಮರುದಿವಸ, 6 ತಿಂಗಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ, 1 ತಿಂಗಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಥವಾ ಮುಂದೆ ಆ ಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಯಾದ ಆನಂದ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಮನೆಗೆ ಗೃಹ ಪ್ರವೇಶ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವಂತ ಮನೆ ಮರುದಿವಸ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಬೈ ಎ ಹೈ-ಎಂಡ್ ಕಾರ್, costly car, or build a costly mansion, what happens? Your ecstasy, your joy erupts. Again, it is transitory. After that moment passed, that joy also vanishes. Because every day you don't say, I'm so happy to have this high-end car with me. Every day you don't tell that. You don't tell others. You don't tell yourself, oh, look, I have a high-end car with me. I have a big mansion with me. That is why Acharya says this bliss, as we call, is not the correct word. This joy, pleasure is transitory. It is not eternal. It's not permanent. So there we had stopped at 2007 shloka. Now he continues with that. आनन्दमयकोशस्य सुषुप्तो स्फूर्तिरुत्कटा स्वप्नजागरयो ईषत् इष्टसन्दर्शनादिना आनन्दमयकोशस्य सुषुप्तौ स्मृतिरुत्कुटाः स्मृतिरोः उत्कटाः स्वप्नजागरयो ईषत् इष्टसन्दर्शनादिना. So we are starting with verse number 208 here. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶದ ವಿವರಣೆಯನ್ನ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶಸ್ಯ ಸುಷುಪ್ತೋ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಉತ್ಕಟ ಸುಷುಪ್ತೋ ಉತ್ಕಟ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶಸ್ಯ. ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಆನಂದ ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ಕಟವಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕಂಡುಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ದುಃಖ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಅಹಂ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲೇ ಲಯವಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಮುಳುಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಆದರೆ ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಮಸ್ಸಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವ ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ಮೂಲಕ, ಆ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಗಾಢ ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ನಿದ್ರೆ ಇರೋ ತನಕ ನಮಗೆ ದುಃಖ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಸುಖ ಅನುಭವ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ನಿಜವಾದ ಆನಂದ. ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿತ್ತು, ದುಃಖ ಇತ್ತ? ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, the real ananda can be experienced in the deep sleep state. ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶಸ್ಯ ಸುಷುಪ್ತೋ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ ಉತ್ಕಟ ಸ್ವಪ್ನ ಜಾಗರಯೋ ಈಶತ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಸಂದರ್ಶನಾದಿನ. So what you experience joy in your waking state and dream state, compared to that, in the deep sleep, in sushupti as it is called, this Anandamaya Kosha intensity is magnified. The highest intensity of Ananda is experienced by the Jiva in the deep sleep state. Why? Because it is well known, long back it has come. In the deep sleep state, what happens? Your antakarana, that is your ahankara, ego, mind, manas, buddhi, intellect, all are subdued and merged within the self itself, within the pratyagatma itself, within the atma itself. So in the absence of your individual jiva bhava, in the absence of your antakarana, in the deep sleep, there is total dukkha nivrutti. So sukha prapti. So that is real ananda. Your identity is not there. Your status is not there in a deep sleep. You don't remember anything in the deep sleep. Your worries and problems, everything, individuality, ahankara, mamakara, me and mine concept, totally lost in the deep sleep. After waking up, is all our experience, your experience. What we say, what were you doing in the deep sleep? If a question is put, every one of us will say, we didn't know. We had a wonderful sleep. How many times we have repeated this? We had a wonderful sleep. It was so nice. It was so beautiful. We can't explain where I was. My identity, I don't know. It was so nice. We never remembered our family people. We never remembered our good and bad deeds. We never remembered anything about the status and the job I am doing now. Never remember any problems we are facing right now in the waking state. Nothing of the thought. Neither there was a joy nor there was a sorrow, we say. We say we don't know. It was all that we say. It was so nice. Wonderful sleep. These are the words. ನಿದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಸುಖವಾಗಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. I don't know. That is the answer. So Acharya says here, so the intensity of Anandamaya Kosha means your Ananda itself, intensity of the pleasure or the joy is totally magnified in the deep sleep state. Of course, it is covered by Ajna. It is covered by Avidya. That is tamas. In the deep sleep, the tamas completely covers. So Ananda is felt in deep sleep as long as the deep sleep is there. So that intensity of Ananda, real Ananda, you don't feel once you wake up. You are back to normal, back to waking state. With identity, ego, me and mine concept, everything sets in the moment you wake up. So ultimately, in the next loka, Acharya finally concludes, since it is transitory, since it is not permanent, this ananda or the sukha or the joy, the pleasure, what you get in your life, now and then, now and then, now and then. This ananda is only a reflection of the real ananda. It's only a reflection of the Brahma ananda. So this ananda cannot be the Atma. It is again anatma. That's how he concludes in the next sloka. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೇ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆಗಾಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಖ ಬಂದಾಗ, ಸುಖದ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಆನಂದ ಉಂಟಾಗತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಮರ್ತೋಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅನುಭವ ಆಯಿತು, ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಮಹದಾನಂದವಾಯಿತು, ಮರುಕ್ಷಣ ಅದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೇ ಅದು ಮರ್ತು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದು ನಾಳೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಆನಂದ ಸುಖ, ಇದು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಬಂದು ಹೋಗುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಆತ್ಮನಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಆನಂದ ಆತ್ಮನಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆತ್ಮಾನಂದವಲ್ಲ, ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ ಆನಂದ, ಸಚ್ಚಿತ್ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ. ಆ ಆತ್ಮನ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು, ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ ಆನಂದ, ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ ಸತ್, ಆತ್ಮನ ಸ್ವರೂಪವೇ ಚಿತ್. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದು ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶ, ಆತ್ಮನಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಆತ್ಮನ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲನದಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ತೋರಿಕೆಯಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತ ಒಂದು ಸುಖ. So Acharya says now in the next sloka, Naivanandamaya Paratma ಸೋಪಾದಿಕತ್ವಾತ್ ಪ್ರಕೃತೇರ್ವಿಕಾರಾತ್ ಕಾರ್ಯತ್ವಹೇತೋಃ ಸುಕೃತಕ್ರಿಯಾಯ ವಿಕಾರಸಂಘಾತಸಮಾಹಿತತ್ವಾತ್ ನೈವಾನಂದಮಯಃ ಪರಾತ್ಮಾ ಸೋಪಾದಿಕತ್ವಾತ್ ಪ್ರಕೃತೆ ವಿಕಾರಾತ್ ಕಾರ್ಯತ್ವಹೇತೋಃ ಸುಕೃತಕ್ರಿಯಾಯ ವಿಕಾರಸಂಘಾತಸಮಾಹಿತತ್ವಾತ್. ನ ಏವ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಪರಾತ್ಮ. ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಮೊದಲ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಕೋಶ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಈ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಪರಾತ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆತ್ಮನಾಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಗಾತ್ಮ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಉಪಾಧಿಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದೆ. ಸೋಪಾಧಿಕತ್ವಾತ್ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ವಿಕಾರ, ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಒಂದು ವಿಕಾರದ ಪರಿಣಾಮವಾಗಿ ತಮೋಗುಣದಿಂದ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಯಾಗಿದೆ. ಕಾರ್ಯತ್ವ ಹೇತು ಸುಕೃತ ಕ್ರಿಯಾಯ, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಫಲಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಖ ಸಂತೋಷಗಳು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಿಂದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅಥವಾ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಫಲಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಲವಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಖ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದು ಹಿಂದೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಕೃತಗಳ ಫಲ ಈ ಆನಂದ, ಈ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಈ ಸುಖ. ವಿಕಾರ ಸಂಘಾತ್ ಸಮಾಹಿತ್ವ, ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೋಶಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಅನ್ನಮಯ, ಪ್ರಾಣಮಯ, ಮನೋಮಯ, ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಮಯ ಕೋಶಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಘಾತವಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಈ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಅನ್ನಮಯ ಕೋಶ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಘಂಟಾಘೋಷವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಶ್ಲೋಕ, ದ ವೆರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಕಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ನ ಏವ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಪರಾತ್ಮ. ಸೊ ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್, ಲುಕ್, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ananda, the state of ananda, anandamaya kosha means you can also, lot of confusion every time for some of us. Vedanta words are so sometimes abstract. What is this anandamaya kosha? It is a name given to your state of happiness in life. It is not something visible. Sheath, kosha andre literal translation. Don't go like that. There is nothing like a sheath which in your body you can dissect open and try to find where is this sheath of ananda. It is not like that. Anandamaya kosha is your state of happiness, state of joy and ecstasy in your life, in the waking state, in the dream state, and also in the deep sleep. So Acharya says, so this state of happiness is covered by upadhis. It is limited to your body, mind, and ego, body-mind complex. Prakriti vikara, it is a modification of your tamoguna, modification. Prakriti vikara. Karyatva hetoho sukrita kriyaya, because of good deeds you have done in this birth earlier, or because of the virtuous good deeds, punya karma, done in the previous birth. As a result, the fruits of it are appearing in the form of pleasure and joy and happiness in your life by the favorable circumstances. That is, whatever you wish, they are happening in your life. You have got a good job, a good wife or a husband, very good children, well cultured, well mannered, lot of bank balance, plenty of bank balance, a good mansion. Everything is there in your life compared to others, compared to millions of people who are on the road. Let us question, every day, have we, as soon as we wake up, do we bow down to Lord every day with this feeling that, Lord, you have given me so much which others are not possessing. I am the fortunate person that you have endowed me everything I wanted in my life. I am so grateful and beholden to you throughout my life. How many will think like that? I don't know. So, because of the good deeds done in the previous birth, all these good things are happening. Swayishtartha labha. Whatever you desired, things are happening, and you are getting joy and ecstasy. Karyatva heto sukrita kriya. Because of that, because of the good deeds, because of the punya accrued by you, this state of ananda is exuberant in your life compared to others. You are fortunate, we say. How fortunate you are, how lucky you are. You are at a higher level where day to day mundane problems are not there. You are not begging for 2 meals per day. You have not lost your job trying to fend your way. How I should get my meal next day, where I should stay, I don't have a house. So such problems are not there in your life. So God bless. That is the state of Ananda. That is because of Punya Phala, of the good deeds we did in the previous births or in the same birth earlier. That's what Acharya says. Karyatva hetaha sukrita kriyaya vikara sanghada samahitatva. So this state of Ananda is covered by all other koshas. Means, see, you are covered by your own body, mind, manas, buddhi, all, and ego, aham. So like that, this state of Ananda is limited to your body and mind complex. It is not something different. It is not eternal. It goes with you. Vikara sanghata samahitatvat. It is also a modification like other 4 sheaths. Just like Annamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Manomaya koshas, even this Anandamaya kosha is subject to limitation, modification. Hence, this cannot be the real Atma. This Ananda state cannot be the real Atma. Then he concludes this point about Anandamaya kosha. So, to look back, ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದರು? ಅನಾತ್ಮ ನಿರೂಪಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪಂಚಕೋಶಗಳ ನಿರಾಕರಣೆ. ಈ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳು ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಸ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ವಿವೇಚನೆಯಿಂದ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕುಶಲತೆಯಿಂದ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ನಿಪುಣತೆಯಿಂದ ಶ್ರುತಿಗಳ ಆಧಾರದಲ್ಲಿ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳ ಆಧಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಮಂಡನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರೆದುರಿಗೆ? ಆ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಿಷ್ಯನ ಎದುರಿಗೆ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನಿನ್ನ ದೇಹ, ಸ್ಥೂಲ ದೇಹ ಅನ್ನಮಯ ಕೋಶ, ಆತ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಸಂಚಾರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇಡೀ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಪಂಚ ಪ್ರಾಣಗಳ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಸಂಚಾರ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಣ, ಅಪಾನ, ವ್ಯಾನ, ಉದಾನ, ಸಮಾನ, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಣಶಕ್ತಿಯು ಆತ್ಮವಲ್ಲ. ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ 6ನೇ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ, ಅದು ಆತ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಿನ್ನ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ನಿಶ್ಚಯಾತ್ಮಕ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಯಾವುದು ಸರಿ ಯಾವುದು ತಪ್ಪು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಆತ್ಮನಿಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಮೀಪನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯೂ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲ, ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಮಯ ಕೋಶ. ನಿನ್ನ ಆನಂದಮಯ ಕೋಶ, ಅದು ಆತ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳ ನಿರಾಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರು ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ಶಂಕರ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದ, now he concludes that all the 5 koshas logically with the backup of the Yukti and Shrutis, he makes it very clear to the Uttam Adhikari, qualified disciple, sitting in front of him, that look, so all the 5 koshas, one by one, they are not Atma, they are all Anatma. As I explained to you, my dear disciple, Acharya says, so your gross body, Annamaya kosha, is not Atma. It is not Brahmavastu. It is not Brahma Padartha. Your Prana Shakti, Pranamaya kosha, even that is not. Your mind, Manomaya kosha, even that is not. Your Buddhi, intellect with the ego combined. Buddhi always combines with the ego and it decides. It has no separate existence. Even that Buddhi, Vijnanamaya kosha, cannot be Atma. Even the state of happiness you get in your life, Anandamaya kosha, cannot be Atma Swarupa. So, now he concludes Acharya in the next sloka. Panchanam api koshanam nishedhe yuktitah shrutehe तन्निषेधावधि साक्षी बोधरूपो अवशिष्यते पंचानामपि कोशानां निषेधे युक्तितः श्रुतेः तन्निषेधावधि साक्षी बोधरूपो अवशिष्यते. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯುಕ್ತಿತಃ ಶ್ರುತೇಃ ಪಂಚಾನಾಂ ಕೋಶಾನಾಂ ಅಪಿ ನಿಷೇಧೆ. ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಯುಕ್ತಿಗಳ ಬಲದಿಂದ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಮಹಾವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು, ಮಹಾಮಂತ್ರಗಳ ಬಲದಿಂದ, ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳು ಸ್ವಂತ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ, ಈ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳನ್ನ ಅನಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ನಿರಾಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಈ 5 ಕೋಶಗಳು ಆತ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆದರೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಒಂದೇ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವು ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದಟ್ ಲುಕ್, all the 5 koshas, with the help of the Shruti, Vachanas, Upanishad Vachanas, and Yukti, that is the logical explanations, backed by Shruti Vachanas. If all the 5 koshas are totally negated, one by one, then you will know that all the 5 koshas cannot be Atma Swarupa. Then Tannishedavadi Sakshi Bodharupo Avashishyate. After negating all the 5, what remains, that itself is a pure witness. That is Bodharupaha and Sakshihi. Tannishedavadi Sakshi Bodharupaha Avashishyate. Then Avashishyate means what remains after negating all the 5. Whatever remains, that is Nijabodha Rupa, that is the Parabrahma Tattva, that is Paramatma Tattva, that is real Atma Tattva. That remains as a pure witness. Sakshi Bodha Rupa Avashishyate. After negating everything, what remains, that itself is Sakshi, that itself is Nijabodha Rupa. That itself is a Pratyagatma, that itself is Atma Swarupa, all these words. That itself is Paramatma Swarupa, that itself is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that itself is Prajnanam Brahma. So, Acharya concludes in this simple shloka the highest truth. Yes. That is why the famous, one of the not Mahavakyas, one of the important Mahavachanas, very famous in Vedanta. ವೇದಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೃಹದಾರಣ್ಯಕ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತಿನ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮಂತ್ರದ ಅನುವಾಕದ ಮೊದಲ ಭಾಗ ಮತ್ತು ಮಧ್ಯಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಶಬ್ದ, ನೇತಿ ನೇತಿ ಅಂತ. ನೇತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇತಿ, ನೇತಿ ನ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇತಿ, ನ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಇತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದಲ್ಲ, ನೇತಿ. See, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, this famous one mantra is there in the form of a small, short phrase, very famous in Vedanta. That is called Neti Neti. Neti, if you split, it means na plus iti. So it becomes Neti. What is this Neti meaning? Very simple. Neti, na iti means this is not that. This is not that. Na iti. So this neti word is used in the Upanishads to denote that when somebody has to define what is Atma Swarupa, if Paramatma can be defined, or if what is Brahma Jnana athva Brahma Swarupa, or what is Brahma Tattva, how difficult it is to explain. You cannot define Brahma Rupa, Brahma Tattva, Paramatma Tattva, Pratyagatma, Atma Tattva, all words are same. You cannot codify, you cannot quantify, you cannot attach any attributes, lakshanas, any adjectives to explain what is this Parabrahma Vastu. Simply the Upanishads say, na iti, neti, neti, whatever you say, na iti. Last time I remember it was said. What is the neti, the importance of the word neti? If you go on asking questions to Sadguru, a Brahmajnani, what is this Brahma Padartha? Can you explain? No. Is this Parabrahma Vastu? Is it God? Na iti. No. Is it Sadvastu? No. Is it Asatvastu? No. Is it Jnana? No. Is it Ajnana? No. Is it light? No. Is it darkness? No. So by any word, the point is, by any method, your limited intellect, however great intelligent you are, however great scholar you are, however great Shastrajna you are, however great you are Shastravetta, however great you are a scientifically tempered, scientifically oriented, a learned scholar in the world, the Upanishads say you cannot understand, you cannot define, you cannot explain what is this God or Paramatma or Brahma Vastu or Brahma Padartha by words. Why? It is quite evident. Your brain capacity or intelligence, as we call it, Vijnanamaya Kosha, it has its own limitation. Please go through this. The highest argument given in the Vedanta. By giving modern day example, I'm trying to communicate, trying to explain. Please pardon me what cannot be explained. With my own words, trying to explain. How, with all the intelligence, our mind, our buddhi, brain can explain about the mystery of this creation. When the mystery of creation itself is not known, how can we think of an unknown super entity a super cosmic force called the Creator. You can try to explain by words, but we really don't know because you can't explain the Creator, qualities of the Creator. ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ರಹಸ್ಯವೇ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಕರ್ತನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ವೇ? ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅರಿವಿಗೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಮಿತ ಬುದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ಏನೂ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. See, the Earth is only one planet revolving around our sun. That is a name given to the star in the solar system. So there are billions of stars in our solar system, Milky Way. And for these billions of stars, there are billions of planets revolving around. So planet Earth is only a minute, smaller than the smallest dust particle in our own solar system. And a man, however intelligent, he is still a small, minuscule dust particle in this planet Earth. So how we can explain the evolution, origin of solar system itself? Forget about the other galaxies. Forget about the universe. There are millions and millions of galaxies. Science, modern science accepts. So these are the points. So Brihadaranyaka Upanishad simply says, Neti, na iti, na iti. Whatever you try to say about Parabrahma Vastu, na iti, neti, it is not like that, it is beyond that. It is beyond our imagination, beyond our thinking, contemplation. So it is indescribable, unexplainable. That is why there is a beautiful Maha Mantra in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. All Mahatmans know about it. Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Yataha vachaha aprapya nivartante tataha manasa saha aprapya nivartate. The full meaning of this Maha Mantra. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. That means what? Our words, walk, our capacity to explain, the capacity of the tongue, the words, communication, and the mind. Neither the words nor the mind can reach the Parabrahma Vastu and come back and try to explain. Neither the mind can reach there, nor your words, your capacity, your brain can reach there. So that is how neti neti means. So Acharya now concludes. Yoyam atma swayam jyotih panchakosha vilakshanaha avasthatraya sakshe san nirvikaro niranjanaha sadanandah savijneyah swatmatvena vipaschita. Yoyamatma swayam jyotih panchakosha vilakshanaha avasthatraya sakshe san nirvikaro niranjanaha sadanandah savijneyah swatmatvena vipaschita. ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಪಂಚಕೋಶಗಳಿಂದ ಭಿನ್ನನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಪರಂ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜಾಗೃತಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ನಿದ್ರಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಸ್ವಪ್ನಾವಸ್ಥೆ, ಈ ಮೂರೂ ಅವಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು ನಿರ್ಲಿಪ್ತನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ವಿಕಾರ ರಹಿತನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ನಿತ್ಯ ಆನಂದ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯಾವ ಆತ್ಮ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವೊಬ್ಬ ಆತ್ಮ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು, ಆ ಆತ್ಮನನ್ನ, ಆ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನ ವಿವೇಕಶಾಲಿಯಾದವನು, ವಿವೇಕಿಯಾದವನು ಅದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥಕೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಯೋ ಅಯಂ ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಪಂಚಕೋಶ ವಿಲಕ್ಷಣ ಅವಸ್ಥಾತ್ರಯ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿ ಸನ್ ನಿರ್ವಿಕಾರೋ ನಿರಂಜನ ಸದಾನಂದ. ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ with great compassion and mercy Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada is using in order to explain what is the Atma Vastu, what is that Paramatma Vastu, what is that Brahma Vastu. With greatest compassion and love, Acharya is explaining for the sake of Ajnanis like us, for the sake of Mudamatis like us. He is trying to explain what cannot be explained. The nature of the Atma Vastu, Paramatma Vastu. What is Paramatma? What is Atma? What is Brahma Padartha? What is that Parabrahma Vastu? What is that which cannot be explained? What is that which is only one? There is no second. Ekam eva advitiyam. What is that? We call it as God. What is that? We call it as Paramatma. What is that? That Parabrahma Vastu, he is explaining in with some adjectives. Why? For the sake of us, we are the fools, we are the Ajnanis, we are the Murkhas. We cannot understand. Only Acharya can explain. He says, Yaha ayam Atma, he goes on explaining with ayam Atma, this Atma is Swayam Jyotihi Panchakosha Vilakshanaha Avastatraya Sakshi San Nirvikaraha Niranjanaha Sadanandaha. Look, my dear disciple, this Atma, Swayam Jyotihi, self-illuminating, self-radiating. There is nobody else which can help it to illuminate. It itself is self-radiating, self-effulgent. It's always illuminating itself. Swayam Jyoti, Panchakosha Vilakshana, it is beyond these 5 koshas. It is beyond your gross body. It is beyond your pranas. It is beyond your manas, beyond your buddhi, beyond your ananda. Panchakoshas. Avastatraya Sakshi. It is a pure witness, purest witness to all the 3 states you experience every day in your life. My dear disciple, every day we are morning, we wake up, till we go to bed in the night, we are in the waking state, Jagrata Avastha. We do all our work, all life activities go on in the waking state. And in the night time when we sleep, we sometimes, every day, we dream so many things. That is dream state. And then we fall into deep sleep, Sushupti. So this Atma is there in you while you are waking, while you are dreaming, and while still you are sleeping with deep sleep. In all the 3 avasthas, states, Atma is eternal, unchanging, always Sakshi Bhuta. It is pure witness. Avastatraya Sakshi San Nirvikaro Niranjanaha. Nirvikara, it is not changing type. It doesn't change, it remains as it is. There is no change, no transformation, no birth, no death, no development. See, the animal body or the plant body, it appears, it grows, expands and dies. So there is constant change, modification. Vikaraha. For Atma, there is neither birth, nor growth, nor old age, nor disease, nor it will die. It is birthless, growthless, deathless, permanent, eternal, nirvikaraha, niranjanaha, nirlipta it means. Niranjana means nirlipta. In the ultimate analysis, Atma Vastu, Brahma Vastu is nirlipta, neutral. In other words, inert. In other words, not moving, no emotions. There is no mind like we think. So, totally emotionless, neutral. That is Niranjana. Sadananda. Always, all the time, eternally, with the highest degree of it is Ananda, Brahmananda Swarupa. This Atma itself is the ocean of the greatest bliss, bliss, absolute bliss. It is nothing but ocean of Brahmananda, Ananda. That is real Ananda. There is no change. There is nothing like Ananda appearing now in small quantity and disappearing later. It is not like the Sukha, the happiness you experience in your daily life. It is beyond that. It is real Brahmananda. It is real Ananda Swarupa. It is an ocean of absolute bliss, which our mind, our buddhi cannot fathom. It is limited. It is beyond that, beyond your comprehension. By whatever method, you can read tons and tons and tons of books. You think that you are very super intellectual. You think that you can decipher. You think that you have got a very sharp analytical mind. You are more than Einstein. You are more than Isaac Asimov. You are more than a Stephen Hawking. All these things. But your mind is limited. Buddhi is limited. The brain is limited. So it cannot reach. So this is the nature. So finally he says, Sadanandaha savijñeya swatmatvena vipaschita. Vipaschita means, so the highest adhikari, uttam adhikari, well qualified disciple with viveka, he is called vipaschita. So vipaschita swa atmatvena vijñeya. Atmatvena vijñeya. So Acharya concludes, so only by a highest well qualified adhikari who is well versed in this process of viveka, discrimination, who really understand what is Atma and Anatma, he should endeavor to experience this Atma Padartha within himself. So that Atma Padartha is himself. He himself is that Atma Padartha. So a Viveki, a Uttam Adhikari, well qualified disciple, not a Manda Adhikari, not even Madhyam Adhikari. A Uttam Adhikari is endowed ultimately to realize, so this Atma is nothing but himself. That is his job to be done. So in this way, Vipaschita means the wise one, learned one, the Viveki, the well-qualified disciple. With all the earlier I said, sadhana, chatushtaya sampanna, following the Guru's ajna, Guru's words completely, and adhering to the Guru Upadesha and doing the sadhana. So he concludes, Acharya. Next shloka is very landmark shloka, very important. 212, next one. Before going to that, small point here. Next shloka is the question put by the Shishya himself now. Next shloka is the question by the disciple to the Guru, Sadguru. Now what is that? If we are careful, if we have understood so far correctly, the discourses on Viveka Chudamani, what Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada has said, Now, one thing is clear. This doubt should come in your mind and in my mind equally. What is that doubt? What is the doubt I should get? Acharya in front of me, Brahmajnani, says, look, my dear child. So now you know you are not the body. I have explained. Now you know that you are not the Prana Shakti also inside pulsating. You are not that also. Now you know that you are not your mind also, powerful internal component, sixth Indriya, as Lord Krishna calls it in Bhagavad Gita. You are not even the mind, powerful Indriya. Now you are not even the buddhi, intellect, associated with your ego. I am so and so, I am so and so, I am a great person, I am a highly educated person, I am a billionaire, I know everything. So you are not even buddhi. You are not even this Ananda. Remember that. So when Guru says like that, what immediately the important question to raise in our mind? I'll be stunned. I'll be confused, totally confused. I will get all the doubts in the world, even to the extent I will not understand what Acharya is telling me in front of me. If Acharya Shankara Bhagavad-pada sits in front of me and says, I will look at him with doubtful eyes. Pardon me, even I may go to the extent of thinking whether the person, the great Acharya, what he tells, does he know what he's talking? I am not this body. I am not the mind. I am not the buddhi also, intellect. I am not the prana shakti also. I am not this ananda also. Then everything I go on discarding, negating, not this, na iti, neti. Then what remains? If I am not the body and mind and buddhi and ego, then what I am? Big zero, shunya. At the time of Adi Shankaracharya, Shankara Bhagavad-pada, the Shunyavada was very, very prominent. Shunya means emptiness in common sense, but Shunya here means total void, total emptiness. So I'm nothing but a big empty, a big bubble with nothing. If everything is lost, then who am I? So I'm afraid, really afraid. How can I understand this paradox? I am here looking at me, this body made up of flesh, blood, bone. I have a thinking mind. I have an intellectual capacity. I can discern and understand and analyze. Yes, I can use a reasoning power. I can use my discriminative power. But if all this, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the buddhi, I am not the ego, what is this then? Big zero. Am I a big zero? Am I completely shunya? Am I a total void? If that is so, then what for I'm sitting here in front of you and trying to do sadhana to understand nature of God? Why I am sitting here? To know what is God. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರಲೇಬೇಕು. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ನೀನು ಈ ದೇಹನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಶರೀರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಮನಸ್ಸು ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಅಹಂ 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 ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಅಹಂಕಾರವೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಬುದ್ಧಿಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಯಾವುದೂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವುದೂ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಿರಾಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ನಿರಾಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಏನು ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ? ಏನೂ ಉಳಿಯಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಕೇವಲ ಶೂನ್ಯ ಉಳಿಯತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಕೇವಲ ಶೂನ್ಯ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೂನ್ಯ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಶೂನ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮವಸ್ತುವೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ವೇ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಬರೋದು ಹೇಗೆ? ಆ ಪರತತ್ವ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಶೂನ್ಯ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಭಾವ ಜಾಗೃತ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನ ಈಗ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಗುರುಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು 212ನೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಉವಾಚ. ಸೊ in the next 212th shloka verse, now the same question the disciple asks the acharya about this mithyatva, shunyavad. Suddenly he develops a doubt. If everything is negated, then what I am? I am a big zero, total void, there is nothing. Then where is the question of analysis of Atma and Paramatma? Where is the question of analysis of Atma and Anatma Vastu? Where is the question of Viveka? Where is the question of Guru and Shishya relationship? So with the Guru Sankalpa, we are stopping today's discourse at the 212th shloka with a short Ram Bhajan. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwara. Hari Om.
Thank you, sir. That was simply wonderful. I think we have come to a very key turning point, just like those serials. They stop at the most interesting point. Now we are at the most interesting question of all, I guess.
The answer is the most difficult answer, summary of the entire Vivek Chudamani, or I would say summary of the entire Upanishads, summary of the entire Brahma Sutra, summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. How far Gurudev does this through my mouth, I have no idea.
Look forward to next week, sir. Thank you
Hari
so
Om.
much. Hari Om.